Have you ever wanted just a little bit of extra certainty when you're driving down the road with all the crazy people out there and the ambulance chasing lawyers? Well, I've got a solution. Today, we're going to teach you how to install a dash cam on your vehicle. Now, today we're working with a GMC Sierra, but this guide really should work for any car out there. We're installing a Viofo A229 Pro, but if you have a different type of dash cam than this guide can be used to hardwire many different brands of dash cams. Now we're going to be hardwiring this thing, we're going to be hiding the wire, we're going to be plugging it into the fuse box. We're going to show you all the tools you need for that. It's going to keep your car clean, it's going to keep the OEM look. There's not going to be wires coming down to a cigarette lighter or USB port. This video is the type of video that spurred me to buy a dash camera. Now in this video it shows a party of four reversing into someone and then getting out of the car and acting like they're injured in order to commit insurance fraud. Now without the dash camera, they probably would have succeeded. When installing a dash cam, the first thing you're going to want to do is hook it up to power. Now we're doing this loosely with a USB port on this truck, but you could also use a cigarette lighter. You want to connect it with power that is not the hardwired power that we'll show you later on. And the reason is you want to mock it up and find the spot on this truck that gives you the very best visibility. Now I've opted for right here because I think it gives me a good view of the hood, and it also gives me a good view of the surroundings. A very similar view to what I get when I'm driving the car, but yet it is not blocking my vision whatsoever. So if you're on a GM truck, this is a pretty good location. It's also quite out of the way. If you're on another car, you just want to play around with it, find the right place, and then most dash cams will come with a 3M sticker or similar sticker that has a mount on the other side, and you just stick that in the place you want it and then hook the dash cam onto it. From there, you'll unplug the power cable and loosely run it outside of the trim work over to the fuse box. And on this truck, the accessory fuse box we're going to use is over here on the passenger side. But other vehicles may have their fuse box in many different locations, including under the footwells or on the driver's side door panel. You'll want to consult your owner's manual to figure out exactly where yours is. Now today we're going to be installing this dash cam with this fuse tap kit. Now the fuse tap kit I think is the very best way to install a dash cam. It's the least intrusive, it's the most reversible way. It's much better than splicing in that regard, and it's much cleaner than, running wires to a cigarette lighter or USB port. So for those reasons, we're going to be using a fuse tap kit. Now we'll need to be able to identify fuses on the fuse box that power, one, an always on circuit, and two, a circuit that turns on when the vehicle turns on, an accessory power circuit. And we'll want to be avoiding very important circuits on this vehicle, safety type circuits. I'd say avoid computer control modules, brake systems, brake lights, signal lights, headlights, that sort of thing. And we're going to be looking for circuits that control things like the USB or cigarette lighter. Those are good choices for an always-on circuit. And for an accessory circuit, I think window switches or window circuits are really good options. Your fuse box may also have open slots. You can test those as well. And to test them, you're going to need a multimeter. When testing fuses, you'll want to set your multimeter to volts, and specifically it needs to be on DC volts, denoted by the solid line here and the 3 dots. Now your multimeter may be different. You may have just a solid voltmeter, and it may actually say DC somewhere on here. And then you want to change over to the range that works best. I find just a solid volts here will give me the best reading on a 12 volt system. Okay, so I've got the power cord for the dash cam all mocked up here, and the power cord has 3 different connections. The first is for an accessory circuit. The accessory circuit is one that comes on when the truck or when your vehicle comes on. The next is called a battery circuit. It's really just a constant circuit. that is always on your vehicle. And the last is a ground wire, and I think that's pretty self-explanatory. I've already hooked up the ground wire to this bolt. You'll want to make sure when you're hooking up, you just find a place on the frame of your vehicle, find a bolt like this so you can slip it under. There's usually one visible in a fuse box area. I've found a USB fuse here, and I've also found for my accessory power a window circuit. So if you just think about it, a window circuit is often only going to operate when the vehicle is turned on, the ignition is on, and a USB circuit is often on much of the time. Another, a cigarette lighter type circuit might be very similar. So what we're going to do is we're going to probe these with our multimeter, and the way you do that is you're going to want to touch your negative terminal to the ground. It's not such a bad idea to use alligator clips here. It makes life a little bit easier, so I could take an alligator clip it here, and clip the other side to the ground. But in absence of that right now, all you have to do is find the little metal spot. There's a little metal spot, any one of them on the fuse. This is a 3-prong fuse. But you can see here we're getting 12 volts, and then do the same thing down here, and we're getting 12 volts. Now the truck is on right now. If I turn the truck off, I should still get the same 12 volts here, and down here have nothing. And so there I've identified my 2 circuits. So we're going to be using this USB circuit up here for our constant power, or our battery wire. That's the power that is always on our pickup truck. And then down here we're going to be using the window switch for our accessory power, or the power that turns on when the truck turns on. Now what we'll do next is pull a fuse. I've taken the fuse out of this window circuit here, and all we're going to do is place it into the fuse tap kit here. Now the fuse tap kit, the top fuse is going to be the one powering the tap kit. The bottom fuse is going to be the one that powered your old circuit. So you're not doing anything, you're not disrupting the old circuit, you're just adding another circuit on top of it here. And so we'll take this and we'll plug it in to the old circuit now, and that's it. That's literally all we have to do. We have to do the exact same thing with the old one here. So I'm using pliers here, but there's actually a pretty good tool that comes in most fuse kits to just pull fuses. So I'd use that if you have it, less likely to damage a fuse. And there we have, the truck is now wired up. We've pressed on, just crimped on these wires from the fuse tap kit to our power cable, and that's it. And all I'm going to be doing is now sticking the power cable right back up in here. This is the fuse box diagram of my truck found inside the fuse box panel. And on your car, you'll probably have something similar. If not there, you'll probably find it inside your owner's manual. And today we used a window circuit for the accessory power on our dash cam. And we used a USB circuit, an always-on circuit, for the battery power on this dash cam. Now it's worth noting that most vehicles have more than one always-on circuit. So if you found a fuse that's hard to access, you might just keep on looking. I've found 2 additional circuits very easily on this truck. Now from there, you're going to have a lot of extra wire. Again, I think you should loosely rough this in. You should then sort of get a better handle on how much wire you need, and bring all the extra over here and start, and maybe even tape up the wire around where you're going to run it. And then once you have most of the wire over here, there will be some wiggle room to pull it back and forth if you need to start running the wire. Now I've ran my power cable up. I pushed it underneath the weather stripping here. You'll need a good trim tool to do this. It makes life a lot easier with this job. You can get these pretty cheap on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description. There's lots of different styles, but I just ran this wire up and down under this weather stripping. You can really push that in pretty easy. And then somewhere on the A-pillar, you're going to need to come across. Now, you could push it under here in this joint. I think you could slip the wire pretty easily under there, but I really think for safety reasons you should pull the A-pillar cover off. And the way you do that is you pull this tab and this tab off, and there are two T-screws underneath here, and you back them out, and then you can pop the A-pillar off. That's all. It's just two screws here and some clips. And you pop this A-pillar cover off, and then you can run the power cable underneath the airbag. And that's why I say for safety reasons, because if that airbag were to discharge and you have that cable over, potentially shoots that cable whipping across the car, and it could injure someone. So I would suggest running it under the airbag. When you're doing this, when you're pulling this off, when you're messing with airbags, I always like to disconnect my negative terminal on my battery so that this doesn't accidentally discharge, so the airbag does not have power to it, right? From there, you take and you run the power cord just right out under here on the A-pillar cover, and you do not have to pull the headliner off. You can use that trim tool to push the power cable up and around here. You can see how clean it looks, and all I did was push it up underneath. There's enough clearance you can get it underneath, and then right here I am going to, all you have to do is pop this down, and you can bring the power cord over and around to here and then push it back on. I did not have to modify this at all. It does not give me any rattles because this cable is under here. So I've ran the power cable down and around here and just given it just enough cable to plug into the camera. It's a really, really clean look, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. So again, I'm just showing it to you here. Can't see the cable anywhere along the car, and no one, other than seeing the dash cam, no one knows you even have it. One last thing here, guys. We're going to show you startup of the camera. So we're starting our truck right now, and the software of the truck is starting up. And within a few seconds, the camera is now starting up. You can see Viofo there. And pretty quickly after that, it announces recording, and you can see the recording happening. It all happens fast enough that it's really faster than you usually get in your truck or car and get it into gear and get going. So it starts up fast enough that you're not having to worry about there being any time where you're driving and it's not recording. All right, guys, that's all for today. If you like the video or you like content like this, please subscribe or hit like.